With the neuroconstructivist view, scientists used to think that we were born with certain genes and the brain was wired a certain way, and that's just who we are, who we were. We were stuck that way. One way of thinking about this essentially is that there is no such thing as free will. It's basically what these scientists were saying. Like when I said maybe that Ted Kaczynski, that he was the idea that he is born bad. I don't believe that, but let's say he is born bad. That used to be a prevalent theory, that you were just born that way. Most scientists nowadays subscribe to something that we've already been discussing, the idea that they go hand in hand, nature and nurture. The biological processes and environmental conditions, they influence the brain's development, and the brain has, this is for the neuroconstructivist view. So, you have the biology, you have the environment, you also have what's called plasticity. We talked about it in a different chapter, the ability to change, the ability to grow, depending on the environment that you're in. So this idea of the neuroconstructivist view, it's very similar to epigenetics. So like I was talking about that intelligence range, that you're maybe born with a range of 80 to 20, and then whatever your environment is going to help to hone in where it's going to end up. Are you closer to 120 or 180 or 80? Do you have the novel environment, novel stimulus, etc.? So there's three things that you need for the neuroconstructivist view: plasticity, genetic inheritance, and the environment. Is it enriched? Is it impoverished, etc.? The next thing the book talks about is sleep. So the typical newborn sleeps 16 to 17 hours per day. Kind of. It's not like they sleep continuously for 16, 17 hours. They wake up every couple of hours to eat. By 6 months, the majority of kids will sleep throughout the night. Nighttime waking does happen. It's one of the most frequent infant-related sleep issues. There is a thought called sleep training, where you help your kid learn how to deal with getting to sleep. There's an article I believe I posted in the second set of articles. The Ferber method is one way you'll hear this described as. Some people swear by it, the idea of the Ferber method. Some people think it's the worst idea ever, and I'll come back in a little bit to that. There's also the idea of sleep regression. So a kid may get themselves trained, and they may be sleeping through the night, and then they will have these periods where they wake up a lot again. Like I think 2 years old, like almost exactly 2 years to their birthday, they'll have issues waking up in the night. Leif did, for example. Also, during sleep, obviously you have REM movement, rapid eye movement, REM. Infants spend about half of their sleep time in REM sleep, which is pretty significant. As adults, we don't spend near that much. Often they'll actually begin their sleep cycle in REM sleep. So as soon as they go to sleep, they start to dream. We don't usually do that as adults. And this also, the idea of having that much REM sleep may promote brain development, which makes sense. Some research has shown, so this is one of the reasons sleep is super important throughout the entire lifespan, but it's also important as a kid. More sleeping at night, the kids had better executive function at age 4. So already the amount of sleep they're getting is affecting how they are developing. It improves daytime alertness, improved learning. This is what the research showed. Poor sleep led to language delays, and poor sleep at age 1 was linked to more behavioral problems at age 3 and 4. They had more emotional dysregulation. So again, sleep, super important. Sleep is also probably going to be related to memory consolidation. Yeah, when we sleep, we have memory consolidation. Basically, the things that happen to you in the day kind of get compressed and put into the long-term memory when you're sleeping. And so I can see them needing a lot of memory consolidation because everything they're involved in is completely new to them. For us, a lot of the days kind of become fairly similar to the day before, but for them, they're experiencing all these new things. On the sleep training, a couple different things. Maybe helping them, teaching them to self-soothe is helping them to develop emotional control. That's a possibility. With the sleep training, it's not just the idea that they're crying and you're sick of it and so you're just going to ignore it. That's not what's going on. You will set up a set time where you're like, okay, I'm going to let them cry for 2-3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, whatever the time is. They have, the Ferber method has some exact times. You'd have to look them up maybe in that article. 5 minutes, you go in and check on them, say, hey, everything's okay, go back out. 5 minutes later, back in, hey, everything's okay. least in my experience. You don't want to pick them up. If you pick them up, it's over. They're yours for the rest of the night at that point. So 5 minutes, don't pick them up. It's going to be okay. Go to sleep, etc. And this isn't just going to be good for the kid because you want them to get a good amount of sleep, again, for all those reasons we talked about. It's going to be good for the entire family. If you're a parent, a well-rested parent is a way better parent than a parent that hasn't been to sleep for weeks. Babies can actually tell if you are stressed out, and they pick up on it, and it actually causes their stress level to go up. So you want to get them sleep. You also want to get yourself sleep. You want to get everyone in the family some sleep. So sleep training is possibly better for the entire family. That being said, so in the psych department, we have different programs, and one program is the experimental program. The person that runs the experimental program right now says the Ferber method's good. She used it with her kids. I saw a discussion that she had with the department head over Facebook, and the department head was not that big on the Ferber method. So the reason I'm mentioning this is that in this type of research, in lifespan developmental research, there can be differences of opinion. So you can look at the same data and you can come up with different ideas. So the Ferber method is definitely something that some people find useful, and then there's some people that find it to be, I don't want to go as far as to say cruel, but they don't think that it's appropriate to use that. Okay, that's it for sleep. On the next slides, we'll talk a little bit about SIDS and breastfeeding.